Guys, recently I practiced with this clip, and this clip is about 6 minutes, but it's quite fast, so it was really hard for me to follow this clip. So I practiced about at least 3 hours in these weekdays. So I'm going to record myself this clip. So let me start. Alright. Simone Biles appears to defy gravity in her gymnastic routines. Michael Phelps has 23 gold medals, and Serena Williams won her first Grand Slam at 17. In everyday conversation, we say that elite performers must be natural to possess a gift that can't be taught. But what does the science say? Could innate talent just be a myth? Some researchers now argue that nobody is born a natural brain surgeon or cellist or sport champion. Research across a wide range of fields shows that many people do not only fail to become outstandingly good at something, they frequently don't even get any better than they were when they first started. So if you're wanting to start playing tennis, for example, you get some instruction and you eventually get a point where people are willing to play games with you, and at that point it seems that they become less aware of what they're doing, and it's almost like they are kind of finding now a level of performance that they were just sending. So the activity, or actually practicing with friends, doesn't seem to kind of keep improving the performance. In the book Big, Anders Ericsson and Robert Puls argue, with the exception of height and body size, the idea that we are limited by genetic vectors is nothing more than a pernicious myth that in fact is down to something else, a new finding from their research that explains elite performance, something called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice refers to a special type of practice that is systematic and purposeful. It requires focused attention and is conducted with specific goal of improving performance. Several things make deliberate practice different to regular practice. Number one, it restricted to fields where there is already a community knowledge of effective training activities. Number two, it involves a teacher or a coach. And number three, it requires immediate and actionable feedback. So you're actually going to try to achieve a state where you can do something that you currently can't do. And that really is sort of stretching yourself. And very different from this idea of, naive practice where you just try to do the best you can with these skills that you have. You really identify out something that is well outside of what you can currently do. And in order to do that, you really have to push yourself maximally so you can gradually stretch to this new goal of mastery. So it's not so much about the amount of practice you do, but the way that you do it. Which means by that logic, anyone who trains in the right way could achieve high-level results. So why don't they? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Deliberate practice is hard, it's repetitive, and it's quite boring. And there's not that many people who are willing to put themselves through it. So most of us end up taking the easy route, but even if we think it's unlikely we are born with talent, we might still think that great achievement requires natural abilities or aptitudes like high IQ or superhuman memory. For most of the 20th centuries, it was believed that memory capacity for rapid presented information was limited to around 7 pieces or chunks and couldn't be improved by training. In 1975, Professor Anderson Erickson undertook a study which disproved that claim by having normal college students improve his ability to reproduce random sequence of digits from around 7 digits to over 80 digits after several hundred hours of training spread over a couple of years. The student's achievement was significant because when he reached age 20, there was nothing to indicate that he had reached his limit of improving memory skill with practice. And then, most interestingly, we found that the way he was encoding and recalling the digits fundamentally changed with practice. He was now able to actually, instead of just rehearsing them, saying them again and again until you recall them, he was able to meaningfully encode them and relate them to knowledge. In his case, he was a runner, so he actually thought of the kind of digit groups of 3 as running times for various kinds of research. So that really shows that this limiting factor of having a memory, really can be improved. So is there anything that can hinder extraordinary performance? Congenital, physical, mental, and health conditions, along with disease and disorders, are some obvious constraints. And even if you are in peak physical health, other physical aspects like height or body size are also contributing factors. If you are born with soprano voice, for example, it's gonna be a challenge singing bass. And then there's the issue of luck. For example, a chance accident or detrimental effect that have on reaching elite level of performance. In his book Blueprint, Robert Plowman makes the case for talent as a result of our DNA. Plowman argues that genetic factors can affect outcomes, which raises the question, what role do genes play? People wonder how Mozart and Tiger Woods would be able to perform at such a high level at young ages. It seems almost impossible that training could explain that. If you look more carefully, we'll find that in all of these prodigious cases, a parent was helping the child, often starting around 2 or 3 years age, to actually be able to now to systematically acquired skills. They were sufficiently skilled here to kind of help the child. So these prodigies, it was clearly the result here of a very kind of supervised training, helping them achieve the kind of skills that were then later on displayed at a very young age. So if we actually look at what Mozart as a child was able to play, we can now find that with kind of training, average children can actually acquire the ability of playing not just those kind of pieces that Mozart played, but even more complex pieces, which again suggests that over time the performance has changed. Whatever you believe, it's clear that the price of elite performance is extremely high, and those who reach superhuman levels of performance are often the ones who are willing to sacrifice everything to pay for it. Okay, I think that's it. It was really fast, and they in the clip they were two persons, and there was no time to breathe. So I think it was quite difficult for me to follow this clip, but anyway, it was very helpful, I thought. So I will pick another clip in this BBC Reel next time, so then I will upload again. Thank you.